Shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Chakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone rule well, as well as double honor to their elders. Peace and blessings to 144,000, pushing this world with all truth and sincerity, as well as peace and blessings to all the believers of Yahweh Shai. And let me begin by breaking down those names. In the Lashawan Kodash, or the scholars will call it the Paleo Hebrew, who the world knows as God. His name is Yahweh. Yah meaning he, Wa meaning is or exist. He is, he exists. And his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly knows as Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai. Yah meaning he, Yahweh Shai meaning saves or deliver. And he's coming back to save and deliver his people from their sins. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But I just wanted to do a quick hit lesson going into Revelation 3 and 10, So I got a article from End Time Headlines. And Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the point. This is December 4th, 2025. It says UK government rolling out live facial recognition cameras for every town and city across the country. I'm just going to read the headline. I'll put it in the description box. You can read the rest of the article for yourself. And when I seen this, I was like, it reminded me of what Klaus Schwab said, China is the model. What if you go look at China right now, they have all these different, let me see if I can find a short video. Let's see. Play a little short clip of it. Let's see. The Chinese model. Son, hope they don't flag me just for that 5 seconds of music. This is that warning your brothers put up at the beginning. This is fair use, fair use. I'm not making no money off of this for educational purposes only, but I guess I'll try to read these. First month milestone facial recognition enhances clearance efficiency. You see, and this is what's going to come everywhere, globally. In order for you to even get clearance to walk through this, walk through the door, you're gonna have to have, that chip. This is where it's going to eventually lead to. You're gonna have to have the chip to enter. And as they saying, which I'll put this video in the description box. You can check it out for yourself too. It's going too fast. I'm not about to keep stopping it. But it's just basically showing, the system they got set up over there in China, facial recognition. You can't access without, having a good social credit score. If you get your social credit score is fucked up, you can't get no plane tickets, you can't get in the train tickets, you can't enter certain places. This is the model for the world that America's looking at, that everybody's looking at around the world globally. This is where it's headed to, as we see UK adapting the system of the facial recognition. You see here. Let me see if I can go back to that picture. Right here, you see your face gets scanned, everything pop up, your ID, everything. They can look at your social credit score. Can you even pass through here? Are you in good standing? This is what the world is headed to. So let's I'll make sure I put this in the description box. Let me go to YouTube. Yep. Let's play this the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, when he spoke about, making mandatory digital ID.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID. I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work.
What the hell? Yeah, free of charge mandatory digital ID. That don't sound good at all. What the fuck? It's free and mandatory, so you don't got a choice. You're going to have to get it. And it's free, so get it. So that's exactly what's going to be said about the mark of the beast. Free of charge, but that shit is mandatory. You're going to have to get it. That's all I'm going to play from there. I'll put it in the description box. You finish for yourself. I did a couple Google searches. It says, are there any companies in China that lets its employees get chips in their hands? Like in Sweden, they have the voluntary chipping. So let's read this whole AI overview right here. It says, while there are no widespread reports of mandatory microchipping in China, the concept exists globally, with Sweden being a leader in voluntary employee chipping for access/payment. It says in China, the focus is more on booming production of AI chips by companies like SMIC and BAIDU, but some early adapters in China might exist for convenience, similar to other biohacking trends. So it's telling you that basically, microchips in the hands does exist in China as well. It's just not as widespread and well known as in Sweden. But guess what? China's the first, the number one. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? The number one economy to the people. I'll say that because I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Or government that's ready to put chips within that people. They have everything else set up. It's ready, set, go for them. They got the facial recognition. They watching everybody, every move, a social credit score. All they got to do to their people is say, okay, the next step now, I need to get this chip within you. They ready. Everybody's ready. They just got to get America online. These people, they want order out of chaos over here because ain't shit really set up like that as far as a and it establishes China, but it is coming to America as well. Like facial recognition cameras. They got all these black cameras that look similar like this. They everywhere on every freaking corner. You can't go nowhere without your car being tracked. So to a degree, it's already here in America. You're being watched everywhere. They're listening to everything you do. There's no privacy here. So I guess in that way, America's ready as well. All they want is order out of chaos because these people are going to rebel. They're going to turn up against the government. No second as the 15th chapter. It's already set to happen. But let's finish reading this. It says why it's in the news global context. Convenience. Companies like Epicenter in Sweden have offered voluntary microchips to employees for building access, payments, and IT logins, acting like digital ID cards. So some fucking bullshit. How just give me the fucking ID card, man. Put the shit on the lanyard. I'm gonna wear it around my neck. I'm not putting no fucking, apparatus chip in my body just so I can access the building and log into the damn computer. This is stupid. It says body hacking. This is a part of a broader biohacking trend where people use implants for seamless access and payments. Notes this CNBC article. And LD Ashwama has showed this guy a while back. The first guy with uh, antenna. Yeah, this guy. Neil Harbison, this damn fucking Edomite, probably a damn small head. Got this fucking antenna in his fucking head. Got a chip in his head. He has an antenna that can help him perceive different colors and bullshit or whatnot. And this is appeals to certain people. He's the first one, but you got all kind of stupid idiots out there ready to get them a damn antenna or just get a regular chip in their head. Just put that shit there for fashion. It's a vain world we live in. Says what's happening in China. China manufacturing. China is a major player in manufacturing computer chips, AI, etc., with SMIC and BAIDU being key firms. But this is about production, not implants. I keep that in mind because that's some bullshit. It's about implants. They're just not telling you yet. That's the main goal. Globally, everybody's gonna have their people. Every government around the planet Earth is getting ready to tell their people, yeah, you're gonna have to get a chip now. At first it was just a mandatory digital ID. You had to get the facial scan. You had to get in China, what's that? Social credit score, which we're tracking you everywhere. But now we want to go even further than that. We need complete, total control. Let me put this in you, so I can track you everywhere you go. I can track your bloodstream, what's going on, what you're eating. If you decide to get drunk, I'm gonna know that too. This damn devil has a God complex. Second Thessalonians. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to pull some of these scriptures. It says, let's finish this. Early adapters, while not a government mandate, some individuals and smaller tech firms in China might experiment with these for internal use. Oh, they might experiment with it for internal use. No, they are, man. They've already know the outcome of the experiment. You got people, I'm sure, more than likely, there's people just like there is in Sweden, walking around with chips in their hands. Oh, they might be doing it for experimental. Nah, they doing it, man. It says similar to Sweden, but specific company names aren't prominent in major news yet. In summary, you won't find headlines about mass chipping in China, but the technology exists, and some Chinese tech workers might be adapting it voluntarily, just like Sweden, though it's far more publicized in places like Sweden and the US. One more Google that I searched, it says China microchip implants, and they gave me more here, because they might not be doing it as much in the hand, but they definitely those brain computer interfaces they on that. It says China is making rapid advancements in brain computer interface chips for medical use. That's the same thing that they're pushing here. That's about to mention like Neuralink, BlackRock, Neurotech. It's all in the guise of it's gonna help your health. We're trying to help the people. We're trying to make people see again. As about to go on to say, it says, so China is making rapid advancements in BCI chips for medical use, developing implants like Bino number one and Neo to restore speech and mobility in paralyzed patients, competing with Western tech like Neuralink, and even implanting chips for addiction treatment, showcasing significant progress in neurotechnology for human health. So China's all about it. They're all about, chips within people bodies. This is the mark of the beast. It says, no, we'll get that. It says in Revelation 13, you see even marking their hand on their forehead. And I guess I'll try to put these Google searches. Maybe you'll get the same thing, or you could just read it here from the video. But let's get to the scriptures now. It's Revelation 3 and 10, red letter, Yahushua speaking. It says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So because, we've been suffering for Yahushua's namesake, why Yahushua's namesake, and doing his work, and being faithful unto death. Yahushua says he's going to keep us during the hour of temptation. So let me read that again from the top. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. And this hour of temptation is when the RFID microchip is made mandatory on a global scale. Just how he said, he gonna make the digital ID mandatory, for UK residents, and it's beginning in 2026, I believe. You can fact check me on that, but I believe they're starting that. They're rolling that out in 2026 for the UK. So like, I lost my point. Revelation 3 and 10 again, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. Yeah, speaking on the hour of temptation being a global thing. When this damn devil say, everywhere, you got to get a microchip in you, or else you're not gonna be able to participate in the new society. We'll get Revelation 13:16 after this. So verse 10 from the top again, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Let's pull out a couple words. Keep in world. Yahweh said he's going to keep us. And who is that us? The elect of the nation of Israel. They're the only ones that's going to be kept, on the soils of America. Everybody else is going to be missile food, fuel for the fire, as it says. G5083 Tereo, and that includes all heathen nations, and damn sure Esau Edom, and 2/3 of our people. The only people who are going to be able to stand in that day, is the elect. You know, being beamed up into the chariots. But this word for our keep in Revelation 3 and 10, Tereo, G5083, under outline biblical usage, it says to attend to carefully, take care of. You see, to guard. Yahweh Shai is going to attend to us carefully, take care of us, and guard us, by way of divine intervention, sending the angels to protect brothers, feed brothers, guard brothers, or lifting up, certain men, Israelite men, with spiritual power. Yahweh Shai going to send that power down, man. It's coming. When the enemy comes in like a flood, then the Heavenly Father going to lift up a standard. And that standard going to be lifted up by way of spiritual power. Men doing all kind of, miraculous things. So let's keep going. Let's get this word here from world in the same verse. It say that our temptation gonna come upon the whole world to try them that dwell upon the earth. G3625 Archimene under outline of biblical usage, straight to the point. Definition 1, the inhabited earth. Definition 3 and 4, the whole inhabited earth, the world, the inhabitants of the earth, men. See, it's talking about the people. It's not talking about companies and corporations and bullshit. No, it's talking about the people that's up on the planet. Is damn devil has a God complex. He wants everybody to be chipped. Let's get Revelation 13 now. Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And this he is speaking about the beast, NATO and the EU, which America's a part of that. America's a part of NATO. And America's that great whore which sit on top of the beast riding it. And the image of the beast goes back to the image of the Western Roman Empire. Their system of government, their ways of life, everything they did back in Western Roman Empire is happening again, just on a larger level, and here in America. So that's what the image goes back into, their ways of life, their system of government, the system. So when he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And what's going to be attached to that image, is taking that mark within you. If you don't get that mark, well, then you're not going to be a part of society. You're going to be physically killed. That's what apoptino goes into. G615, apoptino, on the outline of biblical usage, to kill in any way, whatever, to destroy, to allow to perish. Read Revelation 20 in the fourth chapter. It say you seen the men that were beheaded for not bowing down to the. Let's read it right quick, because this is what's coming to the believers. Revelation 20 and 4. It says, "And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them." Speaking about in the kingdom, we got the victory sitting upon those thrones. It says, "And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai." So we're going to be beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai, which is the spirit of prophecy. It says, "And for the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands." You see, and they lived and reigned with Yahweh Shai 1,000 years. That's the millennial reign, a 1,000 year period reigning with Yahweh Shai. This is just the beginning of the kingdom. And Abaratza, we be a part of that, to see the kingdom being built up from, ground up. But the point is, men are going to be beheaded for not worshiping the beast, neither his image, and receiving that mark in their foreheads or in their hands, you see. So that's part of counting the cost, understanding. And we don't fear death, man. We don't fear this damn devil, beheading us. We understand Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is in control, man. That does not scare us at all. And Heavenly Father tell us not to fear all throughout the scriptures. You can read Wisdom of Solomon, the second and third chapter. Those are two good chapters. You can go into, depth. So let's go to the word next. Let's get the root word from apoptino, which is apo, G575, apo. It says, of separation, definition 2 of separation of apart from the whole. So uh, you either be, physically killed, or or separated, from the whole part, xed out of society, be going off the grid, as people say. You're not going to be able to participate. Because as I showed in that video, you got to have the chip to get in to even access certain places. It's going to even get worse than that. They're going to have all kind of checkpoints set up or whatnot. Let's get a quick precept. Second Edges 15. Just straight to the point. Second Edges 15 and verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. You see, this is what's coming. This is prophecy. You're not going to be able to travel freely as you want. It's going to be 15 minutes here. It's going to be smart cities. It's going to be checkpoints set up. And in order to make it through that checkpoint, you're going to have to abide. You're going to have to have that chip within you. At the end of the day, they're going to say, well, where's your chip? Let me scan your chip. Let me check your standing. Are you in good standing? What's your social credit score? Now you can't have access to this, and you don't got a chip. So now you gotta be taken away. Sending you off to prison or something, one of these concentration camps. A FEMA camp. This is the times that we lived into. And the only way to be protected during these times is abiding under the shadow of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, in the secret place, in this truth. You see. So going back to Revelation 13 and 15, I'll read that again. Keep going. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused it all, everybody. You see, as it's about to go on to say, once again, that he is the beast, NATO on the EU. And he caused it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Let's get that word for mark. Letting you know it's a physical thing. Charagma, as Apostle Tahar was going into recently, that word for graven is the same word, charagma. Under outline biblical usage, the words charagma, definition 2, it says, well, let me read the G5480, charagma. Under outline biblical usage, it says, theme carved, definition 2, thing carved, sculpture, a graven work. Letting you know this is a physical thing. If you're carving a piece of wood, you physically have to carve that. Or if you're sculpting, or you have a graven work, you're working with a piece of a rock or stone, you got a hammer and chisel. That's something you physically have to do. That's what it's letting you know here with this word charagma for the word mark. Something that they want to physically do to you. Noah Yuval Harari, that damn devil, he always mentioned, how they want to go subdermal, under the skin. That's the next step. But the root word from charagma, G5482, charax, on the outline of biblical usage says a pail or stake, a palisade, is representative of the syringe. If you're looking at a wooden stake, it's similar to that needle, the point of a needle. That's what this is going into. A pail or stake or palisade. From Charax G1125, grapho, straight to the point under outline of biblical usage definition 2:4 it says to write to one, i.e. by writing, to give information, direction. This is the part of the microchip, the RFID microchips that can hold all your information. You know, uh, Everything you have in your wallet. Your driver's license, your IDs, even down to little BS. You can start your car. You can open cabinets in your house. You can open your house door. Have a smart house. That was a movie on fucking Disney Channel. I kind of want to watch that again and see if there's any truth in it they put, but which I'm sure it is. But what else can it hold? Your biometrics. Your measurement of life. Facial scan, iris, hand scan, your fingerprints. It can hold all that stuff. It can hold your blood type, medical information. This is where we're headed to. You see, this is the plans of Esau Edom. And we're not ignorant of Satan devices, as it says. Verse 16 again, Revelation 13 and 16. And he calls it all, both small and great, low in society, you high in society, rich and poor, you have money, you don't, free and bond. You so-called free, you're incarcerated in this man prisons and jail system. So everybody, no matter who you are, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now, just going back to this right hand and foreheads, we got companies like Sweden is the poster child for the chip in your hand. With companies like Walletmore, and then you got the poster child for the brain computer interface is the foreheads. It's Elon Musk. But as we just read, China's working on brain computer interfaces. N- and their names. I'll probably have to do some more digging into it too. It's my first time reading about them. The the Benayo number one and Neo. These are two different brain computer interfaces that China is working with to restore speech and mobility to paralyzed patients. And then so that was you got many different companies that's doing these things with both in the hands and the foreheads. We're here. This is what John the Revelator, the Apostle John saw. You know, verse 17 again, that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And the name of the beast is simply having that mark within you. Now, hey, if you get that, let this down devil, the so-called white man, put a chip within your body, either your hand or your forehead. Now you have his name upon you. You done made him you're the property of the so-called white man. You're his pet now. You know, instead of being the property of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. He's our God. You done made the so-called white man your God, and you're destined to be destroyed right along with them. Hey, don't hand join in hand. The wicked should not go unpunished. You don't see you don't see that lake of fire, man. We don't want no parts of that. So you're not gonna be able to buy or sell unless you got that mark. And the number of his name, 666, which verse 18 is about to go into that. You're gonna be completely cut out from society. Nothing. You're gonna be able to buy you a piece of gum. you know, Man, this is what we're coming to. It's a like it for the noise. It's a like it. Well, verse 17 again, Revelation 13 and 17. Mouse not working. There it is. And that no man might buy or sell save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, threescore, and six. And threescore, the score is 20 by itself. So 3 times 20 is 60. 660 and 6. And this is the number you'll find on the back of all your products in the store through that universal product code. And number 666 is found within that. So let's end it off. Let's get to the judgment, which we know the judgment is, you're destined to be destroyed, but let's read it anyway, as I always read it. Now let's bring this out enough too. Let's read Revelation 16 and 2 as well. It says, and the first went, Revelation 16 and 2, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So let's do a quick Google search. I want to get a number. Let's just go to Sweden. A rough number. Let's see. While the exact current numbers vary, estimates from late 2025 suggest that thousands, possibly over 6,000 people in Sweden have voluntarily implanted RFID microchips for convenience, replacing key cards, with some sources even pointing towards a potential range, and this is better here, a potential range of 50,000 to 100,000 by early 2024. So that was just 2024. We come to the end of 2025 now, so that number, it definitely has to be way up higher than that. In Sweden, people implant microchips in hands so they don't have to carry IDs and credit cards. Some bullshit. And as much as 100,000 plus people have it right now, the Heavenly Father is long suffering. He's patient. He haven't brought this prophecy to fulfill yet. But guess what is going to happen? And there, as it says, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. So just letting these people go on live their life day to day, thinking nothing's going to happen. But guess what? Soon come this prophecy is going to come to pass. These people going to have a noisome and grievous sore, where they had that chip at, either in their hand or in their forehead, man. And man, the people that got the damn brain computer interface, they're going to be fucked up, when Heavenly Father bring this to pass. That grievous sore. Let's pull out that word sore. But it basically goes into a cancerous mark, because there's been studies done with these chips, and it let you know that eventually it produces cancer. G1668 health costs under outline of biblical usage says a wound, especially a wound producing a discharge, plus a sore, an ulcer. You see, you're going to have a wound right there. And more than likely, that wound is going to be cancerous. Let's see what grievous says. Pone Ross, G4190, Pane Ross, under outline of biblical usage, says full of labors, annoyances. That is going to be annoyance right there. You're going to wish you never got that shit. But you got the prophets on the scene right now warning the people, warning you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the elect of you, because that's what we care about. We could care less about the two-thirds and the heathens. Go ahead and take it. And the Heavenly Father's going to give you over to strong delusions to take it. But for the elect, hey, stay away from this, man. Don't don't even think about it. We already have provisions set out for us. We're going, I read in Revelation 3:10, Yahushua is going to keep us during that hour. We ain't going to have to worry about where we going to get some food from, where are we going to drink, what we going to wear, where we going to stay. The Heavenly Father already got that covered. We just have to have faith and trust in Him. It says, bringing toils, annoyances, perils of a time full of peril. It says, causing pain and trouble. Well, let me read this one to us. We know that the true Christians are the Israelites, who first called Christians in Antioch, which is a derogatory term, but it says a time full of peril to Christian faith and steadfastness. Our faith is going to be tested and perfected during this day, And Abaratza will be at that number. Our faith is going to be perfected, man, because the elect's faith is going to be perfected. They're going to make it through everything the Heavenly Father has set for them to go through. It says, in a physical sense, diseased or blind, it's going to cause a disease to come upon you. A bad nature condition. That's all I read from there. Let me read it one more time, and then ended off on Revelation 14. Revelation 16:2, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. So this is what's coming, for those people who decide to, give in, they don't get the chip within them, and then next thing you know, their Heavenly Father's gonna bring a grievous sore upon them. And they were trying to get it out. They ain't gonna know what the hell. Just some burning sensation. Ain't no telling, man. But it's gonna be seen. People gonna be able to know who took it and didn't. So it says, doom for worshippers of the beast. Revelation 14:9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, so it don't matter which hand you get in. People try to be simple and make that argument. Oh, but I'm gonna get. I just. What about the left hand? You said the right hand. No, it don't matter which hand. You see, right or left hand. It says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. You're going to feel the righteous anger of who the world ignorantly calls God. And we know the Heavenly Father has no limits, no bounds. We don't want to feel the righteous anger of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This is the last time he's going to judge, his people. He's about to go all out. We don't want to feel what that's like. Fear Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. We don't want to feel what that's like. From the top again, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, his righteous anger. It says, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And this who's bringing that fire? The Lamb, Yahweh Shai, and he come with the heavenly host, the angels. It's going to be a so-called alien takeover. That's how the world going to see it, UFOs and UAPs. But these are the chariots of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This is our salvation. This is how we're going to get up out of here. Be beamed up into the ships to escape the judgment. To not be upon the earth while the earth is reeling to and fro. And it's a lake of fire in America. The elect is gonna be safe in the chariots. You see. But once again, this is how that fire and brimstone is coming. Yahweh Shai is gonna be shooting laser beams upon this place, and it says in the NLT. Let's get that right quick. In the NLT, Joel, the second chapter, I believe, it speaks about Yahweh Shai being at the head of the column, because it goes into the nuclear missiles up here, and I believe that's verse 11. In the NLT, I'm thinking about Joel 2 in verse 11. And all the verses above is going into similitudes, speaking about the nuclear missiles and the destruction that's coming. Joel 2 and 11. Well, start at verse 10. Joel 2 and 10 says, the earth quakes as they advance, and the heavens trembles. When those missiles set off, it's going to be a great shaking. They're going to make the ground shake. It says the sun and moon grow dark, and the stars no longer shine. Speaking about a nuclear winter after those missiles hit, it's going to block out the heavens. You're not going to be able to see the sun, the moon, and the stars anymore. It says, verse 11, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, is at the head of the column. He leads them with a shout. This is his mighty army, and they follow his orders. The day of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is an awesome, terrible thing. Who can possibly survive? The elect. The elect of the nation of Israel. That's who's going to survive. Nobody else. Nobody else is going to make that salvation. And it's only for the nation of Israel. Nobody else is included. Albaratazai would be at that number, So, Yahweh Shai is at the head of the column, man. He's leading those missiles. But that was the point. I'll read verse 10 again, 9 and 10. Revelation 14, 9 and 10, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, Yahweh Shai. Hey, we don't want no parts of that. So, Lord willing, it's edifying to the point, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakwadash, double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, rule well. Peace and blessings to the 144,000 pushing this world without truth and sincerity. Shalom.